Coming up on this week's episode of Flashtalk, Kent State women's basketball head coach Todd Starkey talks about their recent successes in the state of Alabama and the rest of Mid-American Conference play. Men's basketball head coach Rob Senderoff talks about the team's two most recent wins. Malik DeVese, assistant director of compliance at NIL, talks about the opportunities for Kent State athletes. Finally, Kent State track and field head coach Nathan Fanger talks about the team's most recent performances and their upcoming home meet. All that and more coming up in a flash. Welcome into our Flash Talk studios alongside Kent State women's basketball head coach Todd Starkey. Coach, you're coming off a nice win down south against Troy, a loss against Northern Illinois early in the week. What do you think was the biggest difference in those two games for your team?
Yeah, it was like two different teams, right? And I think that happens sometimes during conference play as you're going through. No excuses for that, but we got off to a slow start, and Northern Illinois was as hot as they've been all year. I mean, they hit everything. I think 11 for 17 or 11 for 18 from the three-point line. And it seemed like every time we tried to mount some sort of a comeback, they had an answer for us until the fourth quarter, and then put in a group that played with a ton of energy and got us within one possession. So it was fun at the end, but obviously a disappointing road loss up there, but was really pleased to see how we rebounded against a really tough Troy team.
Speaking of Troy, they are one of the best rebounding teams in the country, yet your front court showed out. Bridget Dunn had 16 points. Janae Tyler had a career high in that game. What can you say about the effort specifically of Janae?
Yeah, I mean, as a team first, I mean, out rebounding the top rebounding team in the country, right, by two, and I thought our post play was exceptional. Janae had one of the best games of her career. Really was just showed a lot of toughness against a ton of size. I mean, that's a big team, very athletic team, and Janae just did a really good job of making tough catches and tough finishes, and really showed a lot of poise. So I was really pleased with the way everybody played in that game, and really kind of got out to a really quick start and really took control of the game and really stayed in control the whole way.
What can you say about your team's ability to bounce back? Because we saw you guys do that after a loss at Toledo. You then do it against a loss at Northern Illinois. An immediate response, especially in the offensive end in both those games.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of having to bounce back. You know, I'd rather us just keep winning. But at the end of the day, every season, you know, writes its own story, and the story of this season has been our resiliency. You know, whether it be early season injuries, whether it be some tough road losses, and how this team has, like you said, been able to bounce back, and really good to see this time of year. I think this team is certainly starting to feel more confident in what we have the ability to do. And then, you know, when you get to the end of the season here, you can't really have those setbacks. You have to play pretty solid all the way through.
The Mid-American Conference, at least on the women's side, has a week off until Saturday. What do you think this week off you guys are trying to work on, and how good is it to have a little bit of rest for your players?
Yeah, the rest is the biggest thing. You know, you worry a little bit about getting out of rhythm and that type of thing, but everybody has a bye. You know, I think when everybody has the same schedule, it's, you know, kind of who manages that the best and who needs the rest the most. And I think we're one of those teams. Be good to get their legs back under them after some tough travel this past week. Face a really tough Miami squad, great defensive team, you know, here this coming Saturday. So have our work cut out for us coming up, and then we go on the road to Buffalo and to Ball State. So tough schedule coming up, but we're excited about what's ahead, and it's good to get the bye week to really kind of get refocused and work on some new things.
Coach, your team is still positioned in the top three right now in the MAC. You mentioned Miami on Saturday. That's a game where you put up 33 points in the fourth quarter. That tied a program record. They're obviously going to want to get back, but what do you guys have to do to take them down again?
Yeah, I think it's, once again, more, here comes the coach speak, focus on ourselves. You know, it's really comes down to us being really disciplined on the defensive end and very connected. Offensively, continue to do what we do well. That's play through the paint and use good spacing, execute. Want to continue to work on the transition game, but be rigid on the defensive end. So both sides of the ball rounding into shape, and like I said, against a tough Miami team, but looking forward to the challenge.
Your last 7 games in conference are not necessarily easy ones. They're against most of the top teams in the MAC right now. How much do you think that could help you going into Cleveland, knowing that you're probably going to see the top tier of the conference twice this year?
Yeah, I mean, I mean, how much it's going to help us. I mean, once again, I think it'll keep us sharp. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I think every team has to. This next 2 or 3 games is kind of proving ground for everybody, positioning themselves. You've got some teams in the middle of the pack that are really fighting like crazy to make sure they position themselves for Cleveland. We have to continue to play well, and I think our team is excited about the opportunity ahead. Tough 7 games coming down the home stretch, but excited to see what happens in conference play.
Kent State women's basketball head coach Todd Starkey, 1 p.m. on Saturday inside the Mac Center against Miami. Coach, thanks for the time.
Sounds good. Go Flashes.
When it comes to reaching your goals, having the right support can make all the difference. That's why we trust Green Lending, Kent State Athletics' exclusive mortgage partner, to help you achieve your home ownership dreams.
Just like on the court, everyone has a role to play. With the right teammates, any dream is possible. Green Lending is here to be that support to help you make those big moves in life.
Visit greenlending.com and let Green Lending help turn your dreams into reality.
Green Lending, helping Golden Flashes achieve their biggest dreams on and off the court.
Joined by Kent State men's basketball head coach Rob Senderoff. Coach Sendy coming off 2 wins last week on the road against Eastern Michigan, and then a sound Sun Belt victory against Arkansas State.
Yeah, good week for us, obviously. Want to play your best basketball heading down the stretch, and we played well last week, and now we've got four weeks, Tuesday, Friday. Coming down every Tuesday, Friday from here on out. Got to stay focused in the moment. Try to keep blinders on, and play as well as we can each and every night, moving down the stretch of the season, and hope we can position ourselves to play in Cleveland and play our best basketball as we head into March.
Against Arkansas State, you were without your leading scorer, Von Cameron Davis. So what can you say about some of the other guys that stepped up, Marquise Barnett, Jamal Sumlin, Rico Gillespie, that helped you guys pull out that victory?
Yeah, played with tremendous toughness and competitive spirit. It was great to see, especially at home. We've done that on the road pretty consistently here in league play. I think we've won 4 straight conference games with an average margin of victory, the 4 that we've won in league, with an average margin of victory of over 15 points. So we have struggled at home. We've struggled against really good competition at home. And to see us play a really good team in Arkansas State, they are the highest rated Sun Belt team in their league. To play them regardless of if, Vaughn played or not played, it was going to be a really tough game for us. To see us play without him, play as hard as we played, to win a close game, to win a game that we were down at the last media timeout and rally and find a way to get, make the plays that you need to make to win close games. I think it's really good for our guys' confidence. We've been working on 2, 3, 4-minute games every day, not almost every day in practice. So to see us make the plays you need to make down the stretch, I think is really rewarding for our players. And, great for this team.
You're an even 5-5 right now in Mid-American Conference play. Can you emphasize how big of a week this is, knowing that you have a couple games at home with a chance with a couple of wins could really solidify yourself in that upper echelon?
Yeah, I mean, every game is important. The distance, I think, between 4 and 9 or 10 is not very great. And whether we have a good week this week or a bad week this week, the following week's going to be a huge week too. So just trying to keep blinders on and worry about Tuesday. And after Tuesday, we'll worry about Friday. And after Friday, we'll worry about the following Tuesday. We played well last week, had a really good Tuesday, Saturday, I should say. And now, we have 2 big games at home this week. And then next week, we'll have 2 big games on the road. And then the following week, we'll have whatever we have the following week. So just trying to make sure that our guys stay focused on the game in front of us. Again, we put ourselves in a position where every one of these 8 games is going to be important. And whether it's for getting to play up in Cleveland or whether it's the position that we play and who we play in Cleveland, every one of them is going to be important for that. So we can't get too high or too low if we lose a game. I can't get too low, and we can't get too high if we win a game, because the next game's coming Tuesday, Friday from here on out. And we're going to have to play really well in each of them. The schedule, when you look at it, is incredibly difficult for us. We do not play, the bottom 2 teams in the league the rest of the year. So we're going to have a really tough road ahead of us. But, our guys, I think, are focused. I think we are playing a little bit better, which is great. This is the time you want to play better. I think we're understanding, based upon this past week at least, we're understanding what it takes to win. You've seen, again, Arkansas State's a really, really good team. They're as good as anybody in our conference. Earlier in the year, we beat Toledo at Toledo by, I think it was 20 points, 19 points. That's their worst home. They've won our regular season 4 straight years. Like, that's their worst home loss in, I think it's 12 or 13 years. So we've shown what we're capable of doing when we're playing well, and we've also shown what happens when we're not playing well. We just have to make sure that we're as focused as we need to be. I do think Saturday, doing that without Vaughn playing shows that it's not about, as much as we need Vaughn to play well. We can win without him playing well. We've played games without Jalen playing well. It's not about one person. It's about our team and how well we all play together. Play as hard as we're able to play, and see what happens. And then the next game will come on Friday.
Looking to continue the win streak. That's Kent State men's basketball head coach Rob Senderoff. Coach Sendy, we appreciate the time.
Yeah, thanks.
I think you can do so much from traveling the world. So many people just stay in the box that we live in.
The study abroad program at Kent State made it clear what path I should be taking.
Experiencing the different classes to experiencing the art and the buildings and the culture. I'm just hoping to take back everything I've learned and be able to apply it into whatever I do in the future.
Kent State has basically helped to set up the vision for the career that I want to be able to go through.
For every just one more mile to your next ace on the court, when you have a sports-related injury, Cleveland Clinic is here. For our Cavaliers, our Guardians, and athletes at all levels, our sports medicine team helps keep you in the game. With expert diagnosis, personalized sports therapies, and game-changing surgeries. For every injury, for every athlete, for every care in the world. Cleveland Clinic.
Joined in our Flashtalk studios by Assistant Director of Compliance and Name, Image, and Likeness, NIL, here at Kent State, Malik DeVese. Malik, we'll start with you coming from law school at Penn State. It's your first year at KSU. So what interested you in this type of opportunity?
So first year here at Kent State has been amazing. I think what interested me was the opportunity to have my first real job in athletics being something that I could come in and kind of create and mold on my own. So obviously it's a pretty fresh canvas. Of course, we have the great work that's been going on with the Blue and Gold Collective, but outside of that and in the community and providing education for our student athletes is something I can come in and figure out what does work, figure out what doesn't actually work, and make something on our own that can kind of be set in stone and move on for years to come.
What type of opportunities are you hoping to foster for Kent State athletes?
Yeah, so I would love to be able to connect the Kent State athletes with the Kent community. So whether that's getting out and hosting a pizza party for some kids and being able to connect with a local restaurant around town, or just things like that where we can really connect the Kent State athletes and with the small businesses or bigger businesses around the area to provide fun opportunities for the athletes and the community itself.
And when athletes connect with the community, how much do you think that can help with the rest of the athletic department? Because if athletes can connect there, then it obviously sells more tickets. So do you think that can kind of create a chain reaction of things?
Yeah, I think it creates a big chain reaction, just being able to see the personalities of these athletes, seeing the benefit of name, image, likeness. Of course, you hear about the big $20 million team that just won the national championship, but There's a real organic level of NIL that can really be tapped into. And from there, you get to know these athletes, build relationships with them. And I think on the back end, that can inspire people to say, hey, well, I see them giving to the community. I want to give back to them, give back to their teams, give back to the athletic department as a whole. And then when you get on the court, get on the field, get on whatever playing surface you're on, and you get some wins, we get to ring that bell. It all comes together.
How much do you think a strong social media presence with some of these athletes can really enhance potential NIL opportunities for them?
Yeah, it's huge. If you can show people that that you have a good, positive, strong brand for yourself, and of course, the bottom line for name, image, likeness is dollar signs. Yeah. So if you can attach that to an athlete who has a big following, that can just spur them on to do bigger and better things in name, image, likeness. But I think everyone has to start from somewhere, so they have to, and that starts with getting them the education and showing them how they can build their brand, what it means to build a brand, and give them the steps, tools, and opportunities to do that.
And when you're talking to some of these athletes, Malik, what is the biggest piece of advice you give them if they're trying to pursue a new opportunity or if they're relatively new to the NIL landscape?
Everyone has someone somewhere that they have to start from, and whether that's just, hey, if you do the social media post for me, I'll give you $15 to my restaurant, or I'll give you this T-shirt. Mm-hmm. Just showing the public that I can be someone who can market your product, and it'll be a mutual benefit.
How excited are you for the month of March and potential more championships in the way?
Oh, I'm really excited. All I've been hearing about is how fun those 2 runs were. And I've been seeing right away how excited the community is to work with those student athletes, whether it's the women's basketball team, the men's basketball team. There's a lot of excitement around those 2 groups.
The spring season, I know there's baseball, softball, women's lacrosse. What are you thinking about most moving into that season?
When companies come to me or come to me, or people I work with, saying that they want to do a name, image, likeness engagement. Of course, they're going to go to the gymnastics, the basketballs. Yeah. But finding ways to incorporate the other sports and find how we can get them involved a little more, just so they can believe that there are opportunities out there for them, and it's not just a big sport thing.
Malik DeVese. Malik, we appreciate the time.
Thank you for having me.
Coming up this week in Kent State Athletics, brought to you by KSU Tix. Wrestling takes on Central Michigan in a dual meet on Thursday at 7 p.m. Men's and women's track and field host a 2-day meet in the Doug Raymond Invitational on Friday and Saturday. Softball takes on Marist in South Carolina at 9:30 a.m., followed by a doubleheader at noon against Towson. Baseball opens their 2025 season, taking on Eastern Kentucky for a noon first pitch. Kent State men's basketball is inside the Mack Center on Friday night, 7 p.m. for a tip-off against Ohio. On Saturday, Kent State women's basketball is inside the Mack Center for a 1 p.m. start against Miami, Ohio. Softball has a doubleheader, 2:15 against Notre Dame, followed by Coastal Carolina at 7:15. Baseball is at South Alabama for a 6:30 p.m. first pitch, and gymnastics has a tri-meet in Piscataway, New Jersey against Rutgers and Michigan for a 5 p.m. start. On Sunday, softball takes on Marist for a 9 a.m. first pitch, and baseball takes on SIU Edwardsville at 11 a.m. Women's lacrosse is back in action for their 3rd game of the year at Mercyhurst for a 1 p.m. first draw, and Kent State women's golf has the 2-day Spartan Suncoast Collegiate Invitational in Sarasota, Florida. On Tuesday, men's basketball hits the road for a 7 p.m. tip against Bowling Green inside the Stroh Center. As always, you can buy your tickets at ksutix.com. If you want more information on your favorite Flashes teams, visit kentstatesports.com or visit the Go Flashes app. We'll be back with more right after this.
Golden Flashes fans, this is men's basketball coach Rob Senderoff. At Kent State, we're building champions both on and off the court. In order to keep our winning tradition on the court, we need your support of the Blue and Gold Collective. Now more than ever, we need you to be our 6th man.
Flash family, make sure to play the Blue and Gold Collective 50-50 raffle. And when you play, the Golden Flashes win.
Support the Blue and Gold Collective and help our Flashes soar.
Joined in our Flash Talk studios by Kent State track and field head coach Nathan Fanger. Coach, appreciate you joining me. And coming off a couple of meets, one at Ashland, one hosted by Penn State, what are your overall thoughts
Kind of middle of the road. I mean, we had some ups and we had some downs. I don't think we're outstanding in anywhere right now, but we're also not falling down. It's kind of that middle of the season, kind of getting through the season. And I think more or less tapering ourselves better this year than we have in the past, maybe for conference championships. So it's that middle of the season grind where you're more in a training load than you are on a peak phase.
And I know Carson Spears specifically, she ran really well at Penn State. So tell me about her development and how she's improving in her performances.
Yeah, she's doing really well. I mean, she's really gaining her own stride under the new coach. You know, Laura's been doing a good job with the women's side. I think this past weekend, even in Ashland, we had maybe 8 PRs on the women's distance side alone. So, you know, overall, I think it's just kind of finding that confidence, kind of finding your wheels under yourself. They've had some good base training in the fall, and I think it's really coming to fruition now. So they can actually see the benefits of it.
50th anniversary of Kent State women's track and field. So what does that mean to you, obviously, being a coach at this university for so many years?
It's special. I mean, it's, you know, half of what we have women's team and a men's team. So being able to have your hand involved in the development of these women over the course of, for me, almost 25 years now.
Mm-hmm.
It's been, you know, half of that time, you know, it's been pretty awesome. We've had some amazing women come through this program, and exciting to see it continue to thrive and flourish.
And with the recent Kent State new Athletic Hall of Fame class being inducted, Dior Delafont, an All-American, a fantastic high jumper, third place in the NCAA championships.
Correct, yeah.
She was here last weekend. What do you remember about her performances and her time here at Kent State?
She was something special. It was really awesome to have her around. The attitude that she brought to the team, the excitement, being able to be so competitive. Taking a third place at NCAA championships is pretty amazing in and of itself. So it was always fun and enjoyable to have her here. And we definitely, I unfortunately had to miss her presence, but definitely like having her part of the family.
Speaking of the high jump, I know Liam's been doing pretty darn well in the high jump the last couple of meets. So what are you expecting out of him the rest of the indoor season?
I think he went 6'9", 6'10" this weekend. I kind of expect a 7 foot to 7'1" at conference championships. It's still, I mean, even though he's doing well right now, we've kind of expected a little bit higher peak coming down, you know, when the time comes, and the one that counts, right? It's always a game of trying to figure out how to keep your athletes positively, mentally engaged, and at the same time still trained relatively in depth. So when you're starting to freshen up and hitting the right peak, that you can do it at the right time frame. So if you peak them too soon, then they kind of have a downward slide versus an upward slide. So I think he's doing well. I think I expect a little bit more.
Switching more toward the throws, tell me about some of your athletes that you're looking forward to seeing perform the rest of the way and looking to improve a little bit.
It'd be the same kind of census across the board. The throws have been good in some spots, like the men all PR at Penn State. That was a heck of a throws meet for them, but all the women kind of, they just didn't show up. But some of that is, again, training. What do I have them doing in the weight room at the time? The men's were peaking well. The women's just didn't have that feel. But Donovan Crawford has been on fire. He's been, you know, meet after meet, he's been able to PR this season. Jeremiah Newsom came in as a freshman. He's been doing really well. Alicia, she had got her stride a little bit. She had some really nice warm-up throws in the shop at this weekend at Ashland. Still had a really good throw at 15-19, but had some throws over 16 meters, which I've never seen. So I'm looking forward to the group as a whole. Again, it's that peak at that conference championship. We're counted for one meet. You know, track and field kind of exists in the realm of every meet, every individual's trying to accomplish something different. But when they come to a conference championship, we as a team need to accomplish something.
What are you looking for most to try and continue that build-up so when it comes time for the MAC championships, you guys are ready?
This weekend, in general, I'm looking for maybe the sprints to step up a little bit. They've been up and down, more on the downs than the ups, but just getting some of that confidence. They need that swag. The sprinters tend to have a swag that goes with them, and it's not like they're lacking it big time, but they just don't have that confidence in themselves. So I think that's one of the pieces of the puzzle. The distance program is doing well. The throws are kind of stepping up, and the sprints are just slightly lagging behind. But I think Mike has them timed up a little bit different this year than last year. So I think we step in that conference championship, even if we don't look great on paper. I think we're ready to go.
That's Kent State track and field head coach Nathan Fanger. Coach, we always appreciate the time.
Appreciate it. Go Flashes.
Thanks for tuning into this week's episode of Flash Talk. Tune in next week as we preview more of the crossover season here at Kent State. For our entire GFTV studio, for Ethan Lachinsky, Justin Spots, I'm Dane Richardson saying good night and go Flashes.
As you know, Kent State Athletics, our basketball team has historically been a huge part of our athletic department. We have a winning tradition. We always bring a great game. But in today's day and age, the basketball game itself isn't going to entice the average fan. We really need to come over the top. We need to do these exciting things like they do in professional sports. And without sponsors or partners like Ken Ganley, we wouldn't be able to afford to do like tonight, the esports night with the Ken Ganley game room. Also being able to do the $10,000 putt at halftime that they're supporting. So those types of things help us advertise and get out into the community and maybe reach people who are not just the average basketball fan. They also help us out off the court. So many of our faculty, our staff, and our coaching know that they can go to Ken Ganley Chevrolet, get themselves a vehicle in a short amount of time without having to shop everywhere. They're so important to us on so many levels that we're just so grateful that they're a part of our family, and I don't know how we would live without them.